Welcome to the show. As you can tell from my terrible audio quality and different background, I am no longer in Baguio. I'm currently here in Manila, just finished the Hajime no Ippo shoot, and without further ado, here's the news.
TryHard News.
Let's start with Thursday. This is a bit of news that made me go, wait. Let's hold on. So, in this bit of news, it seems like three celebrities were appointed into government positions. These celebrities are singer Jimmy Bondoc for Assistant Vice President for Entertainment in PAGCOR. Next, Arnel Ignacio for Assistant Vice President for Community Relation and Services Department for PAGCOR. And lastly, singer Ramon R.J. Jacinto for the Presidential Advisor for Economic Affairs and Information Technology. Now, like me, you may be thinking, wait, why are celebrities being put into government positions? But I did some digging myself, and it turns out most of them do actually have the tools to be able to get the job done. RJ Jacinto has a degree in economics that he has gotten from Ateneo de Manila, so that means he has the tools and he seems to be capable of being an economic advisor. If he'll do the job well or not, I don't know. Time will tell, but at least we know that he does have the training to be able to advise properly. Next, for Jimmy Bondoc, he actually does have a degree in communication from the same school, Ateneo de Manila, so he is more or less qualified for his position. However, for the host Arnel Ignacio, I couldn't actually find any information about his education online. So far, I don't know if he does have a degree that will help him serve well in the position he was appointed. Following that, there's a bit of news that made me go, no. Then, thank God. This was the news that Moko Uson would be appointed as a social media consultant for the Bureau of Customs. But, as it turns out, this is actually false news. ABS-CBN came out with a report saying that Mo Kausan would be the social media consultant for the Bureau of Customs. However, it turns out the statement of Commissioner Faldan was in fact not representative of the Bureau of Customs. So Mo Kausan, thank God, will not be the social media consultant of the Bureau of Customs. So I did a little research on her educational background, and it turns out Mo Kausan did finish a 4-year course in MedTech. Does that mean she is qualified for being a social media consultant? Who knows? Actually, some people will have better training than her, especially those who have taken courses like marketing and other courses like that. But the takeaway here is that before we suddenly judge a person who is appointed to a government position or judge anyone based on the current lives that they live, we have to figure out if they do actually have the training for the job they are being appointed to. For the next bit of news, this is a bit of bad news. There was an attack carried out by a 19-year-old in London. He has actually, in fact, injured 5 people with a knife and unfortunately has killed 1 person. Currently, authorities are not certain about the motivation for this attack, but most early signs point to terrorism as a motive. Next, on lighter news, there's a cool animation by Prude on Dark Souls. You can check it out here. He made this animation based on the original here. You guys should check out the full video. I'll leave it in the link in the description. Let's move on. Next on Friday, here's a bit of bad news. More Olympic shit show, of course. According to the APIS, Shi Dongpeng, a Chinese Olympian hurdler, was in fact barfed on during his stay in Rio de Janeiro. The story goes, as Shi Dongpeng goes to his room to clean up, the cameraman of Chi Dongpeng chases the man who runs away. Then as the cameraman returns, he comes back to find that all of his equipment were indeed stolen during that time. And it's just terrible. It's just terrible the way the officials are actually handling Rio de Janeiro. It's day after day after day of bad news, and I just don't know if there's gonna be a day that I'm gonna have to report the news that won't be full of something shitty from the Olympics. I hope so, but let's make a bet. In the comments below, do you think within the next 3 weeks will I report a piece of news that does not involve shitty handling of the Olympics? You tell me in the comments below. And let's move on. Actually, a Jaguar used in the Olympics was shot dead. Reportedly, the Jaguar was used for a photograph for the movement of the Olympic torch, after which the Jaguar was able to break free from its handlers after the photo shoot, and the Jaguar had to be killed by the authorities, unfortunately. It's just terrible. Terrible the way the Olympics is being handled. day after day after day of just terrible Olympic news. Let's just pray it gets better. For a bit of good news, the early testing on anti-Zika virus vaccines have indeed been successful. The early three methods they were using to test the vaccine on monkeys have indeed been successful. So we will see if this will move into fruition to actually produce an anti-Zika vaccine which is torn through these following areas. For some lighter news, it has been announced that there will be a Telltale Batman series. I personally am a huge fan of the Telltale games. I love The Walking Dead. I love The Wolf Among Us. So I can't wait to see this rendition of Batman, one of my favorite comic characters of all time. Earlier reviews said it's moving from the standard Telltale to something very interesting. So let's keep a watch on it and see how it goes. Moving on to Saturday. Oh, guess what? More terrible Olympic news. That's so shitty. So for this news today, an Olympic photographer has actually lost $40,000 worth of equipment after being mugged in a cafe. Reportedly, Brett Costello was sitting in a cafe in Rio when he was approached by women seeking for help for a lost bag. When he went to help the woman, he was surrounded by men who took his camera bag worth roughly $40,000 in equipment. Look at his face here. That is the face of defeat, the face of sadness, emptiness. The takeaway here is not only is the security in Rio really terrible, but this kind of thing can happen to anyone. I really urge people, if you're moving around the place with important equipment or important high value items, you always need to be leery of your surroundings. Which is a perfect segue to the next story. Pokemon Go is actually announced in the Philippines. Today, Saturday, is its first day here. Personally, I'm super excited by Pokemon Go. I love Pokemon. I played the OG Leaf Green, Fire Red, beautiful stuff. I picked Bulbasaur. So, in the comments below, tell me what starter you did pick, and if you did pick a team, what team did you pick? Mystic, Valor, or Instinct? Personally, I'm gonna go for Instinct. Here, let me give you a couple of tips on getting the starter you want. So, in the beginning, as you start Pokemon Go, you will be presented with a choice with picking either a Charmander, a Bulbasaur, or a Squirtle. But if you don't fancy the choice and want to go for the OG Pokemon Yellow game, you can walk away from those three choices and you'll be given the choice to get Pikachu as your starter. As you reach level 5, you'll be able to pick a team, either Mystic, Valor, or Instinct. But the most important thing I want to leave you with is in fact safety tips. When moving around in Pokemon Go, Philippines isn't exactly a first world country. You could get robbed, you could get mugged, you could get hit by a car. So here are some tips. First, I want you to move around with groups. If you're going into a new place that you don't know, don't walk with your phone out. Don't make it easy for your phone to be grabbed as you're trying to get those good Pokemon. Be wary of your surroundings. Don't cross streets suddenly. Look left and right to make sure there's no incoming traffic as you want to cross the street for that beautiful ass Dragonite on the other road. If you can, bring some self-protection with you. Pepper spray or taser should be enough. In general, let's just keep it in safe areas. If your neighborhood's safe, go ahead and walk around there, but let's stay away from areas where pickpocketing does happen, snatching does happen. So let's all be safe while we get these Pokemon people. Let's go. For the last bit of news, Netflix accidentally put Aziz Ansari's subtitles on a nature documentary and they are hilarious. You should check them out right here. So that's the end for the news for today. I'm following actually a new format. I will be giving you one piece of good news, one piece of bad news, and one piece of cool news. The good, the bad, and the snuggly. Bad jokes aside, this is bad jokes aside, this is the format I'll be following from now on. Makes the news shorter and more digestible for you folks. So as always, be sure to check out my other videos over here and have a great day. See you in 3. See you in 3. See you in 3 days, man.